What's going on, my beautiful people? Today we've got a brand new meta for Treble 2 that focuses on narrow play instead of going wide with those sort of attacker midfield players. It absolutely cooked, scoring over 4.3 goals a game and actually won Salzburg the Champions League over Manchester City. So it's really good against the top teams in the game. Let's get right into it. But first, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to go through every single result first today, then have one massive tactic breakdown. As always, we've got 3 tactics in one video. So then let's get off, shall we? We are going to start with RB Salzburg over in the Austrian Premier Division. We come out and put on an absolute masterclass, winning the league without losing a single game, winning the FA Cup, their version of it, with 3 goals there against Vienna, one of the decent teams over in that competition, and also the Champions League we scrape over Man City, winning 3-2, which, to be honest, I will take any single day of the week. That is a great set. That's a great set of results. It really, really is. And actually going over to the data hub, we can see this 4.31 goals per game, only 0.44 conceded, over 25.5 shots every single match, and the pass completion not too bad either. Considering this is not a tiki-taka system, I will take that pass completion and absolutely run with it. A very, very, very strong season. And of course, we can go over and look at some of the actual stats of the season as well. 138 goals, most shots, most possession, most dribbles, fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. We dominated every single stat line, and you know what? When you're winning a treble, that's all we've got to say. With a slightly tweaked version of the tactic prior to this, so again, a different tactic, which I always say, make sure you watch all 3 tactic breakdowns. We go over with Atletico Madrid, a team that aren't favourites to win, and we turn them into favourites. We didn't win every game, we drew a couple and also lost 1 game. We do win the Spanish First Division and also the Spanish Cup 4-2 against Barcelona in extra time. Now, of course, looking at some of the stat lines here, you can see Sorloth, a new man, great goal scoring outlet alongside of Julian Alvarez. But if we go actually look at the stats, we outscored Barcelona. Madrid possession, we're not as competitive as a Barcelona, a Real Hispalis or a Sevilla, but again, this is not a possession-based tactic. Do remember that. But goal scoring wise, we were absolutely incredible, and the data hub once again looks really appealing. 4.21 goals per game, only 0.84 conceded, over 22 shots, an 86% pass completion, and a very good tackle win ratio. This tactic, again, a little bit different, a little bit of a tweaked tactic, but for a team that isn't favoured to win, they look favourites to me. For one of the bigger surprises of the video is taking Coventry 2 championship winners and winning the FA Cup 4-2 against Tottenham in that final. Now, I will say this tactic is quite different. It's designed for underdog teams, and oh boy, it performed with underdog teams. And as you can see, once again, I'm not going to hide the fact we didn't win every game. We did draw 8. We even lost 2 against Ipswich and Hull as well. But to be competitive was one thing, but to win 2 trophies is absolutely phenomenal. And the data hub, again, 2.93 goals per game, just under a goal conceded. So again, not as strong defensively, but we are a weaker team. Still having the shots, still having a similar pass completion. This has been a massive, massive success. From Coventry to Madrid to Salzburg. It's tick, tick, tick. But the highlight of the entire testing phase for me was this game here against Barcelona with Salzburg. We go 1-0 up inside of 21 minutes. And you know what? Barcelona were not at the races. The high pressing system was too much, as Fernando is going to make it 2-0 in the 37th minute. We bounce back again. We are so controlling in this game against one of the best teams in Europe to make it 3-0 inside of 50 minutes. And you know what? Barcelona, I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. They do get a goal here with Ansu Fati, but there's still time for us to get one more, and to wrap it up 4-1, Dedic, an absolute baller himself, will take it. Now, to actually go and craft this tactic, you are going to simply want to load in a gegenpress, and you are going to have to find a bit of a unique formation because it doesn't come up right away. We are going to be playing the famous 4-2-2, but it's a bit unique today because these players here aren't going to be drifting wide. So it's very different to what you've probably seen when people play this tactic. Let's go ahead and load it in. So this is going to be what you actually load into. Don't worry, the tactic is going to change a fair bit. And let's go over and let's just start creating, shall we? So the goalkeeper is going to remain exactly the same, just to clarify that. We don't really need him doing anything flash, nice and simple. Now, the fullbacks are very important in this system because they not only provide the width, but also they are going to contribute a lot when it comes to getting assists. So we are going to have some instructions, and they are going to be set to cross more often. We've got everyone get further forwards, stay wider, and also run wide with the ball. So as you can see, we'll do that also for the left back as well. We have gone full out in terms of providing width by having them get forward, stay wide, and also run wide, and both of them heavily crossing more often. I do want to say today quickly, by the way, if you are interested, you can come over and check out the Patreon where you get all of these perks you can see on the screen right now. Rebuild files, that is right, we do rebuilds on the second channel as well. You get all the tactics, everything early, and this month we've got a £500 giveaway split between multiple winners. So come on over and join the other 5,000 people that have made the decision. It's an absolute incredible place to be, where if you love FM, we've got a massive group chat and everybody loves it. So be sure to come on over and get involved. But that's enough waffling. Let's carry on and talk tactics. So when it comes to both of the ball players, that is right, both ball players, we are going to keep them nice and simple. Again, I don't really want them dribbling more in this variant of the tactic. Again, the variant we are building right now was the tactic used with RB Salzburg, to clarify that, to make it a little bit more sort of, I want to keep making that very clear, because obviously we do make tactics for different teams, and this is exactly the tactic we are going to be providing. Now, when it comes to the midfield, we are going to go over and look, and on the left-hand side, we are going to deploy a DM who is simply going to be set to support, and he is going to have some instructions as well. That is going to consist of shoot less often and also tackle harder. I don't want this DM really getting forwards. Obviously, that's why he's not getting further forwards, but if he does find himself up there, I don't want him having shots. I want him to be a DM sitting deep and protecting this incredible back line, who do need a little bit of backup, considering both of these fullbacks are going to get forward and hopefully cause some issues. And next to him, funny enough, it is actually going to be an anchor with one instruction, and that is simply going to be set to tackle harder. So these two in the midfield are very, very reserved, very, very defensive minded, which is why we can afford to go a little bit more attacking, should we say, when we go up the pitch. So both of the players going up the field are both going to be AMs, and they are both going to be on support, and they also are going to have exactly the same instructions. That is going to be set to dribble more, move into the channels, and also roam from the position. So I'll do that for the left-hand side as well. So dribble more, channels, and roam. It's one of the few tactics you won't see. A lot of people that play this tactic will have this instruction on here, stay wider. They'll have that on. For me, I want to be a little bit unique and try something different, and actually playing centrally worked really, really well. You get your whip from the fullback anyway, and don't get me wrong, sometimes these AMs moving into channels and roaming about, they are going to drift out in these areas anyway, but they are definitely not going to be playing like winners, hopefully, not wingers. They are going to be sitting quite narrow, and it makes up for quite a dominant tactic, to be honest with you. And lastly, we are going to double up on both advanced forwards, and they are simply both going to contain shoot more often. So again, the front two are not going to be afraid to have shots. You saw how many goals we were scoring. That is a big part of that. You've got two talismans behind them, two people defending the back line, and a solid back line that also provides some attacking quality to the team instruction. So again, the gegenpress on the attacking mentality, we are going to leave it two fairly wide in the middle. We're going to pass into the space because you do get some really good runs being made in this system. We're going to play out from the back. We have two ball playing defenders and two deep options to pick up the ball, so it makes sense. Of course, overlapping is absolutely required in this system. And when it comes to the tempo, we are actually going to go with a higher tempo, a standard passing directness. When it comes to the crosses, we're going to leave it on mixed crosses and run at defence. Again, this tactic, if I described it, is a very gegenpress, counter-attacking themed tactic, so very important you have run at defence selected. In transition, again, gegenpress, so we're going to counter press, we're going to counter, we're going to distribute quickly and play to the centre backs while taking short goal kicks. Again, if you want to tinker with this at all, you could go even long with the goal kicks and go a lot more direct, but for me, it makes sense to play from the back. We've got the roles, and hopefully you guys have got the players as well. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to deploy the high press line of engagement, the absolutely broken, much higher defensive line, get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and lastly, we're going to meet it with a much more often on the trigger press. Now let's go over and look at the tactic that we used with Atletico Madrid. So with Atletico Madrid, I decided to go a little bit more attacking than the default version because I wanted to try and catch teams off guard. We've got good attacking players, therefore you are going to see some big changes coming into the player roles. The goalkeeper does remain the same to clarify, as do both of the ball-playing defenders. The fullbacks, however, on the right and on the left, are both now on attack on take more risks, dribble more, run wide, and stay wide. You might be thinking, Josh, Salzburg were a better team than Atletico. Why are you going more attacking with a weaker team? And it's a good question. Sometimes the best way to actually play as a smaller team, I say smaller team, as a top 4 team, opposed to a powerhouse, is to go quite attacking. You'll catch teams off guard, and sometimes it's okay to concede the odd goal or here if you're going to go and score 2 or 3, which exactly is what we've done with Madrid, actually scoring over 4 goals a game. So hopefully that explains it a little bit. Both of the DMs are going to be a little bit different, but the same role. So on the right, the DM on support, on take more risks and also tackle harder. And next to him, we are going to have him still on support, on shoot less. He can get forwards though, and also tackle harder. So again, one player that is now going to be taking more passing risks, going a little bit more direct if you so will, with both of the AMs now going on attack, on dribble more, roam, and also move into the channels. Once again, they are not acting as wingers at all. And both of the advanced forwards, well, they remain exactly the same because they already were scoring tons of goals. You can't really make them more attacking, so therefore they remain unchanged. So again, the gegenpress set to attacking on this occasion. We are going to maintain still in the middle, but we'll say fairly wide for you. We're going to pass into the space, play out from the back, still overlapping, of course. This is tradition in this tactic. Standard remains the same. The tempo is going to go up to a maxed out tempo. Still going to have the mixed crosses, but where we really spice this up is adding be more expressive alongside of run at the defence. So although we are playing as a bit of a weaker team, although Madrid are of course still a big team, we catch a lot of teams off guard by playing this attacking, free-flowing football, which they probably weren't expect us to be playing, to be honest. In transition, they're going to counter-press, we're going to counter, take short goal kicks to the centre-backs. This will not really change because it's a really big part of how I think this tactic should be playing. And we are also going to get the ball moving quickly by distributing quickly when the goalkeeper has it in possession. And lastly, out of possession, of course, we are still going to have the high pressing line, the much higher defensive line. We're going to get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and lastly, we're going to max out the trigger press. But now, the best still last, we are going to go and find the tactic that got us champions of the championship with Coventry and won an English Cup. Let's go and do it. With the defensive tactic / underdog tactic, there are going to be some core changes. And although it's the same shape of 4-2-2, we have changed it a fair bit to be more suited for real low-down teams or if you're trying to seal a game out. So the goalkeeper does remain the same, as does both of the ball-playing defenders. The fullback on the right and also on the left are going to be quite different. Both on automatic, but now sitting narrow, both to their centre-backs, tackling harder and also being quite tight when it comes to the marking. The DM on the left is going to be on defend, on tackle harder, and the anchor on the right on tackle harder. So that is a very composed back 4 with protection with 2 people in front of them, which means we can actually go quite attacking, even in an underdog tactic, with the front 4 people. So the AM on the left and on the right, pass it short, shoot less, and roam from position. So again, adding that passing shorter is going to mean this wonderful sort of square that we have here is going to be nice and quick with the passes, nice link up, and very easily linking up the play together and hopefully scoring a few goals, as we did with Coventry. Now, as for the advanced forwards, we have gone simply with just the default, because if you are playing as an underdog team, you might not have as good finishers as what we did at Salzburg or Atletico Madrid. So we've kept it nice and simple, and if you are trying to run the clock down, the last thing you want is to build up the play and have useless shots at the goal. So it's going to be nice and simple on the default. The AMs again are still going to be quite aggressive, but they're not going to be taking shots either. It's more focused around a nice slow possession play that controls the game. So off the custom gegenpress, still on positive though this time, so we have gone down one. We are going to leave this 2 fairly wide. The mixed crosses, they're going to remain the same. Playing out from the back is the only thing selected here now, because we're not really looking to make overlap and runs. The tempo, that's going to remain in the middle. The passing is going to go down by 1 to shorter. The time wasting, that's going to go up to frequently. And as for that is going to be all she wrote. And nice and simple in transition tab. Again, if you're playing your games going into it and not time wasting, do not time waste from the rip. This is only on. In fact, we're going to untick it for those of you that are going to download this. If you're trying to run the time down, have it on. From the start of a game, do not time waste from minute 1. In transition, we're going to counter press. We're still going to look to counter, and this time a bit of a risk-free element again, because your goalkeeper might not be too comfortable playing in goal, especially on the ball. We're going to roll the ball out to anyone across the back line, because now the fullbacks aren't going to be looking to attack. And lastly, out of possession, we're only going to go with a higher line with the high pressing line of engagement and simply prevent short goalkeeper distribution. And that's going to give you boys and girls back home not 1, not 2, but 3 variants of the meta for Treble 2, designed for all teams. It's why you need all variants. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Again, if you want to show any love back to the channel, you can come over to the Patreon, where it helps me basically carry on doing this for you. And also, do you know what? I try and give back as much as what I can. We've got some big giveaways coming up next season, next FM. Of course, we're going to be doing some giveaways of the game as well. And hopefully you're just still enjoying the FM24 content. I know we're in a bit of a slump at the moment, you know, SI taking their time releasing the next game, but I'm trying to keep the content fresh. But again, you can help me out there if you want to leave any comments, what you want to see, any challenge tactics, whatever you wish to see. Be sure to go ahead and do that. But I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.